the voices ahead. Her palms were sweaty, her ID badge was slightly crooked, and her notebook trembled in her hand. It was her first day as an intern at Stratosphere Corp, towering tech empire run by legends. She was 23, fresh out of a small-town college, and one accidental misstep away from ruining everything. She scanned the room. The walls were steel gray, the table polished marble. 10 people in power suits sat in a tense silence. Not a single intern in sight. Oh no, this wasn't the orientation room. A man at the head of the table slowly raised his head. He had striking gray eyes, sharp cheekbones, and a presence that silenced the air. He didn't look annoyed, just curious. "Can I help you?" he asked, voice smooth but firm. Jenna's breath caught. Her throat went dry. I'm sorry. I think I'm in the wrong room," she stammered, backing toward the door. The others exchanged looks, confused, judgmental, amused. Someone in a blue suit whispered something and smirked. But the man at the head of the table didn't smile. He stood up slowly. "Wait," he said. Jenna froze. He walked toward her each step, deliberate eyes never leaving hers. The room had gone completely still. "What's your name?" he asked. Jenna Myers. He paused. Something flickered in his eyes. "Interesting," he muttered under his breath. "You can stay." Everyone turned to him in shock. "But Mr. Wolf," someone began. "That'll be all." He cut them off. Gaze locked on Jenna. "We'll continue this meeting later." The room cleared. Murmurs followed, but no one questioned him again. Just like that, Jenna was alone with one of the most powerful CEOs in the country, Darian Wolf. She had no idea who he was. He slowly walked back to his seat, unbuttoned his blazer, and sat down across from her like they had planned to meet all along. "I built this company," he said calmly, "but I've learned that the best ideas often come from unexpected places. So tell me, Jenna, what were you planning to do today?" Jenna stared, confused, overwhelmed, and trying not to shake. "I was supposed to be in HR for onboarding." He nodded slowly. "You're not anymore." "What? You're here now? With me?" Jenna's eyes widened. Was this a test? A prank? She looked around, heart racing. "I don't understand," she whispered. "You will," he said, "eventually." He leaned back, studying her like she was a puzzle. "Tell me something true. Anything." Jenna blinked. "My mum thinks I'm not strong enough for this city." He didn't react, just gave a small nod. "Do you think she's right?" he asked. Jenna opened her mouth, then closed it. Her mind was spinning. Why was he asking her this? What kind of CEO invited a random intern to a private meeting? Before she could answer, the door burst open. A tall woman in a tailored red dress stormed in. Her eyes went straight to Jenna. "You," she snapped. "What the hell are you doing in here?" Jenna stepped back, startled. I walked into the wrong room. She's with me," Darian interrupted calmly. The woman froze. "What?" she hissed. "She stays," Darian said, his voice colder now. "You don't." The woman's jaw clenched. She turned to Jenna, eyes like daggers. "You have no idea what you've done," she said under her breath, and then she stormed out. Jenna stood frozen, heart pounding. Darian smiled faintly. "That," he said, "was Elise, my fiancée." Jenna's eyes went wide. He glanced at his watch and stood. "Come with me." She didn't move. "Why me?" she asked, almost whispering. He paused by the door and said, without turning round, "Because I recognized something in you the moment you walked in, something even you don't see yet." Jenna followed him out, her mind spinning in disbelief. She thought her life was just beginning with this internship. She didn't know she had just stepped into the center of a secret war. Secrets in survival. Stared at her phone screen, her heart thudding so hard it nearly drowned out the low hum of the elevator. "Get out of that building. You're in danger." Elise. She looked up at Darian Wolf, standing tall and unreadable beside her. The man who had just pulled her out of obscurity and into a boardroom full of wolves. The man who had just told his fiancée to leave. He noticed her frozen posture. "Is everything all right?" Jenna quickly locked her screen. Just my mum. Checking in." He nodded, not buying it. When the elevator opened, Jenna followed him into a private corridor, quiet, far from the bustle of the lower floors. A woman in a headset stood near a frosted glass door, nodded respectfully to Darian, and opened it. Inside was a sleek, modern office that looked like a tech billionaire's lair. Floor-to-ceiling windows, a grand piano, a roaring fireplace, and a digital wall of flickering code. but it was empty. Too quiet. Too isolated. Jenna hesitated at the threshold. You wanted to learn, Darian said, not unkindly. So this is how it starts. He motioned for her to sit. I never said I wanted to learn from you, Jenna replied, surprising even herself. He chuckled. You'll find that here. You don't always choose your teacher. Jenna sat, but she was alert now, watching everything. The text hadn't left her mind. What exactly do you want from me? She asked. I want honesty, he said simply. I'm rebuilding my leadership team, and I need people who are unpredictable, unfiltered, real. You don't even know me. I know enough. You walked into the wrong room and didn't run. That means you're braver than most of the people I've hired. Or you're desperate. Jenna's face flushed. I'm not desperate. Then maybe you're the kind of chaos this place needs. She was about to respond when a soft buzz interrupted them. Darian answered aloud. His tone shifted immediately. Yes, when? He stood abruptly. Clear my schedule. He ended the call and turned to Jenna. You're coming with me, to where headquarters. The real one. The black SUV cut through the city like a bullet. Darian sat beside her, silent, fingers tapping his knee. Jenna kept checking her phone, but there were no more messages, no explanations. Why do you trust me? She asked suddenly. He didn't answer at first. Then, I don't. Not yet. But I trust my instincts. And they screamed the moment I saw you. That didn't comfort her. They drove into an underground parking garage beneath a different building. No logos, no signs. Security was tight. Facial scans, voice prints. Jenna followed him through levels of steel doors until they entered what looked like a command center. Rows of screens, real-time code, surveillance feeds, and a massive central screen showing a spinning 3D globe. People looked up as they entered. Some nodded, others froze. A young tech guy approached Darian. Sir, we tracked the breach to internal channels. Elise, clearance was used. Darian stiffened. Elise, yes. Someone accessed restricted data using her biometrics. Jenna's blood ran cold. Was Elise spying? Darian turned to her. Did she say anything strange to you earlier? She told me I had no idea what I'd done. And then I got a text warning me to leave. He narrowed his eyes. She's never done anything like this before. She knows things I trusted her with. You think she sent the warning to protect me, or to control the situation? He turned to the tech guy. Shut her access down. Lock her out of every channel, and find out who else she's been talking to. Jenna stepped back, feeling like she was in over her head. This wasn't about a mistaken meeting room anymore. That night, Jenna sat in a secure apartment Darian had arranged for her safety. Floor-to-ceiling windows, glowing city lights, but it felt like a glass cage. She stared at her phone again. Still one message. Get out of that building. You're in danger. Why would Elise send that unless the danger wasn't Elise at all? What if it was Darian? Jenna got up and began inspecting the apartment. No cameras she could see, no microphones, but she didn't trust the silence. She found a blank notepad, scribbled the words, "Am I being watched?" and placed it under the mirror, hoping someone somewhere might notice. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again, this time a new message. They're watching you. The elevator has a hidden camera in the second light fixture. Don't speak. Don't trust him. Jenna's breath caught in her throat. She didn't respond, just stared at the screen. The doorbell rang. She nearly jumped out of her skin. Through the peephole. DARIAN.com. Polished, smiling. Jenna opened the door, just a few inches. Couldn't sleep, he said. Thought I'd check on you. She nodded. I'm okay, good, he said. I have a few questions. Now yes. He walked in without asking. Sat across from her and pulled a file from his coat, dropped it on the table. Her name, her resume, her college transcript, but also sealed juvenile records. A psychiatrist's note, a letter from a teacher saying she had unusual emotional intelligence. She stared at it, confused and uneasy. How do you have all this? She whispered. I like to know who I'm dealing with. Why? Her voice was shaking now. Because someone like you doesn't just stumble into a top-floor meeting. You're here for a reason. I'm trying to decide whether you're the weapon or the target. What are you talking about? He leaned forward. Who sent you? Jenna. I wasn't sent. He stood up suddenly, his voice rising. Then why do you keep getting messages from someone who broke into my data vault? Jenna stepped back. I didn't ask for any of this. Silence stretched between them, then Darian exhaled, calmer. Maybe you didn't, or maybe you just don't remember. Her brows furrowed. What, never mind, he said. I'll know soon enough. He walked to the door, but just before leaving, he turned and looked her straight in the eye. If you're lying to me, don't think being scared will save you. Then he was gone. Jenna collapsed onto the couch, her hands shaking. Darian's file. The idea that she was part of something she didn't understand. At 2:37 a.m., the power flickered. Her phone lit up with one new message. This time it included a video. She hesitated, then pressed play. It showed Darian 5 years ago, dragging a man down a corridor. The man was bleeding, crying, begging. Darian's voice, cold as steel. No one leaves with the truth. The screen went dark. Below the video, one message. You're not the first intern he's chosen, but you might be the last. Jenna stared into the darkness. She was being hunted by the man who had chosen her, and the woman who was trying to save her, or use her. She had to make a choice. Stay and play the game, or run while she still could. Betrayal and bloodlines. Jenna didn't sleep that night. Her eyes remained glued to the last frame of the video, the chilling words that echoed in her mind. You're not the first intern he's chosen, but you might be the last. At dawn, she took a cold shower and stared at her reflection, trying to remember who she was before all this. A simple intern, a girl from a broken family, a survivor now. She was in the middle of a power game between a ruthless CEO and a mysterious ex-fiancé who may or may not be trying to save her life. She opened her notebook and scribbled a single sentence, I need the truth. Later that morning, Jenna arrived at Stratosphere's HQ, escorted by a security guard, who said only, Mr. Wolf requested you. No warning, no explanation. Inside his office, Darian Wolf sat calmly, sipping espresso like the night before hadn't happened. I had your apartment swept, he said, without looking up. Do you know someone accessed your phone remotely last night? Jenna stayed quiet. He raised his eyes. You got another message, didn't you? She nodded slowly. What did it say? She hesitated, then lied. Just a threat. I deleted it. He leaned back, watching her like he didn't believe a word. Do you know how many interns I've handpicked in the past 5 years? He asked. Jenna shook her head. 7, all bright, all unique, all from unusual backgrounds. He stood and walked to the window. 4 disappeared. 2 left the country. 1 died in a fire. No one asked questions until now. Her blood chilled. Why did you choose me? He turned slowly. Because someone is playing a long game and I think you're the key. But I can't tell yet if you're the lock or the knife. Jenna took a shaky breath. Then help me figure it out. Let me in. He studied her for a long time, then nodded. They entered a restricted floor, accessible only by biometric scans. The walls were lined with files, servers, and sealed cases. One door was marked, Archive 7, Family Files. He pulled out a file labeled, Myers J. Jenna blinked. That's me. No, it's your mother. He opened it. Inside were black and white photos, old official documents, and a news clipping from 1998. Government whistleblower vanishes after claiming stratospheric experiments on orphan children. The photo showed a woman with wild, frightened eyes. Jenna recognized her instantly. That's my mom. She wasn't crazy, Darian said quietly. She was trying to expose something that never should have happened. Jenna trembled. What did she find? A project called Genesis, Darian replied. Before my time, a hidden program to raise gifted children, empaths, hackers, strategists trained from birth to infiltrate the world's future leadership. But it was shut down after a leak. My mum, she was one of the subjects. She escaped. And had you? Jenna stared in disbelief. So I was part of this too. Possibly I don't have proof, but Elise was the last person with access to these files. And now she's sending you cryptic messages. That's not a coincidence. Jenna's hands were shaking. Why didn't you tell me this earlier? Because I didn't know who I could trust. And because I needed you to see it. He placed the file in her hands, and for the first time, Darian Wolf looked vulnerable. That evening, Jenna snuck into Archive 7 again. Alone. She opened the drawer beneath her mother's file and found something new. A folder marked, Elise. Rowan subject, ode to her breath caught. She opened it. Inside were notes, charts, psychological evaluations, and a single photo of Elise as a child surrounded by wires. doctors, and digital monitors. Jenna whispered to herself. She wasn't just his fiancée, she was part of the same experiment. Suddenly, a voice behind her said, "Now you understand." Jenna turned and there she was, Elise, wearing black, no makeup, eyes sharp but tired. Jenna backed away. "What do you want? To help you, before it's too late." "Why would I trust you?" "Because I lived it. Darian wants to finish Genesis, and use you to do it." "You're lying." "No," Elise said. "He's already reacted. The program, he just calls it something else, now Project Catalyst, and he's been gathering people like you to rebuild it." "Then why warn me?" "Because I used to believe in it too, until I watched someone I loved burn alive for trying to leave." Jenna froze. "One of the 7 interns." Elise nodded. "Her name was Ava, and she found out too much." Jenna's voice cracked. "What do you want me to do? Pretend you believe him, stay close, get proof, then get out, and you? I'm already dead in his system. But if you survive, expose it." Elise handed her a flash drive. "Use this, it'll unlock the files he keeps in the off-grid server behind the piano in his office. Everything is there." Then Elise slipped away into the shadows like she was never there. The next morning, Jenna walked into Darian's office, pretending to be the same girl he saw that first day, nervous, soft-spoken, eager. He smiled. She smiled back. "You said you needed help preparing for your board speech," she said. "Yes, sit." As he turned to take a call, she moved quietly to the piano and knelt behind it. Just as Elise said, a hidden panel blinked. Under the bass, she plugged in the flash drive. The screen blinked once, then files began to flood. Her view: Genesis, Catalyst, subject profiles, experiment logs, surveillance data, psychological breakdowns, names, photos, even Ava's final messages. And then one folder that made her stomach drop. Contingency Myers. She opened it. Inside was a memo. "If Jenna Myers shows resistance, initiate protocol, echo, erase, extract, eliminate." Her hands went cold. She was never safe. Not for a moment, not even now. Suddenly, the piano's keys rang out loud. Jarring. Darian stood behind her, silent, watching. "You were never just an intern, were you?" he asked softly. Jenna swallowed hard. "Neither were you." A beat of silence passed between them. Then he nodded slowly. "I was hoping I wouldn't have to do this." He reached into his pocket. Jenna ran. She sprinted down the hall, gripping the flash drive, heart pounding. Alarms blared. Security doors slammed. But someone grabbed her arm and yanked her into a side hallway. "Elise, did you get it?" Jenna nodded, breathless. They ran down the emergency stairwell, racing to the underground exit Elise had used once before. Behind them, footsteps, gunshots, screams. Jenna ducked into a loading dock and found a hidden motorcycle under a tarp. Elise tossed her the keys. "Take it. Drive to the address on this card. They'll know what to do." "What about you?" Elise glanced back at the door. "I'll hold him off." Elise, but she was already gone. Jenna revved the engine and vanished into the night. Truth and justice. Jenna couldn't breathe. She blinked several times, thinking the figure in front of her might disappear like a memory. But the woman remained, standing in the shadows of the abandoned train station. Worn coat, trembling hands, grey at the roots, but the eyes. Those eyes were hers. "Mum." The woman stepped forward, her voice soft but steady. "I never wanted you to be dragged into this." Jenna took a shaky step closer. "But you're alive. All these years, I thought you were. I had to disappear. They would have killed me if they knew I had a daughter." Tears welled up in Jenna's eyes. Her mother pulled her into a tight embrace, and for a few moments, the world felt silent, safe, like she was a little girl again. "I saw the files," Jenna whispered. "Genesis, Project Catalyst, everything." Her mother stiffened. "Then you know they never stopped. Wolf just changed the name. He tried to use me, just like he used Elise, and the others." Jenna pulled out the flash drive. "I have everything." Her mother's face shifted from grief to focus. "Then we have a chance. But we have to move quickly." They drove through back roads until they reached a farmhouse with blacked-out windows and satellite dishes. Inside, a small team of rogue whistleblowers and former tech engineers sat huddled around screens. Jenna handed over the flash drive, and silence fell as the files decrypted. One of the women, a former cybersecurity analyst, looked up. "This isn't just about illegal experiments," she said. "He's selling data, genetic, psychological, behavioral profiles and children, interns, anyone remotely gifted, to governments, corporations, even private clients. Jenna felt sick. Another man added, he calls them seedlings, plants them in key companies, then activates them when needed. You were next. Why me? Jenna asked, her voice cracking. Her mother took her hand. Because you're the last untracked subject, the only one born outside their controlled network. You're proof the program still has loose ends. Jenna's jaw tightened. Then it's time we cut the root. The plan was simple, risky, but simple. Jenna would return play along for 24 more hours, then, using a disguised uplink in Darian's office, transmit the full file set to 3 targets: a major global news outlet, a secret oversight committee in Geneva, and the Department of Justice. Fear HQ, like nothing had changed. Her eyes were cold now, steady. No more panic, no more guessing. She was fire in a quiet dress. Darian greeted her with a small smile. You ran. I got scared. He raised an eyebrow. And now you're back, to finish what I started. He chuckled, but there was a flicker of suspicion in his eyes. Tell me, Jenna, do you believe in destiny? She looked him dead in the eye. I believe in justice. He smiled wider, but she could see it now behind his charm, beneath the charisma as a hollow man desperate to control what he didn't understand. By noon, she had everything in place. The uplink cable ran through the base of his digital piano, her signal boosted by Elise's cracked codes and protected by layers of proxy routing. She slipped the drive into the port. A single screen blinked, sending files, 9%, 15%. Footsteps. She froze. Darian walked in slowly, clapping once. I wondered how long it would take you. Jenna stepped back. Where's Elise? She asked. He laughed. Elise is a ghost, always slipping in shadows. She betrayed me once. I won't let her do it again. You used her, Jenna snapped, just like you used Ava, my mother, all of them. His smile disappeared. You think the world runs on idealism. It doesn't. It runs on control, influence, systems. I gave those kids purpose. You think you're doing good. You're blowing up the one thing, keeping chaos out of this world. Jenna stared him down. I'd rather burn your empire than let it hurt one more girl like me. He stepped forward. She pressed a hidden button under the desk. The door behind him slammed shut. Locked. What did you do? Sending files. 87%. He lunged. She ducked and grabbed a steel lamp, swinging hard. It smashed into his shoulder. He stumbled back, furious, eyes wild now. I made you. You owe me. You don't get to own people anymore. He threw her against the wall. Pain shot through her back, but she didn't stop. Crawled to the piano, shielded the drive with her body. 96%, 98%. He grabbed her by the collar. I'll erase every trace of you. But the final beep silenced him. 100%. Transmission complete. Too late. It was done. Darian froze, and for the first time he looked afraid. Jenna stood, bleeding, shaking but standing. It's over. 1 week later, news anchors screamed headlines across every channel. Global scandal. Tech giant used interns in secret human experimentation ring. CEO Darian Wolf under investigation by DOJ and international courts. Jenna sat in a small studio in New York. Across from her sat a journalist with a soft voice and tearful eyes. Why did you come forward, Jenna? She paused, then smiled gently. Because silence lets monsters grow. But the truth burns them down. The camera light blinked off. Her mother waited for her outside, and this time, they walked into the daylight together, free, final. Scene, 6 months later, Stratosphere was gone. Elise vanished again, last seen in Argentina, working under an alias. Some said she was hunting, others connected to Genesis. Others said she was finally trying to live. As for Jenna, she didn't return to Tech. Instead, she founded Seedlight, a non-profit helping gifted young people from vulnerable backgrounds escape exploitation. Her first intern, a shy girl from a group home who nervously walked into the wrong orientation room. Jenna just smiled and said, "You're exactly where you're meant to be." The end.